This is Skalola. Only 12 years old, she had known more suffering and sorrow than many people experience in a lifetime. Born and raised on the street by a mentally ill mother, Skalola had no father, no home, and nobody to advocate for her future. She only attended school for 2 years before she dropped out because the only woman who was paying her fees went missing. Hopeless, forgotten, yet incredibly intelligent. But one day, all changed. She met Jessica, the billionaire's daughter, at the best school money could afford, but unable to learn. And it was Skalola, the girl with no shoes from the gutter, who was her secret teacher. But when Jessica's influential father found a homeless child teaching his daughter under a mango tree, what he did next will leave you breathless. So sit back, relax, and prepare for one of the most compelling stories you've ever listened to. And if you're just joining us, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button to enable more uplifting stories like this one. Dirty thing, I said, leave here. A raw spit slap landed mere inches from Skalola's bare feet. She didn't budge. She'd become accustomed to the abuse. The voice of the market woman cut through the air once more. Is this a dump yard? You and that crazy woman outdid her shift before I pour water in you. Skalola clutched tighter her mother, Abini, who sat barefoot next to the gutter, muttering to herself and etching lines in the dust with a shaking finger. Her wrapper slipped halfway down, revealing scars and grime, but Abini did not notice. She was in a world of her own, one that no one else could see. People passed by, some slowed, some looked. A woman stopped, shook her head and moved on. Nobody assisted. Nobody ever did. Skalola was 12 years old, but the streets had matured her soul. She didn't cry when people hurled names at her anymore. Daughter of a crazy woman, gutter child, cursed child. She'd heard them all. The pain was in the pity, the hollow kind that accompanied my head shake and lack of offer of help. Her mother had once been beautiful, or so Shola envisioned. On occasional clear days, Abini would croon old Yoruba lullabies and refer to Shola as princess. These times were like shooting stars, short and extinguished before you could grasp them. Most of the days, Abini couldn't even recall where she was. She'd cry out at her reflection in puddles, pelt shadows with pebbles, and flee from imaginary monsters. Skalola did not have a father, not even a name, not even a photograph. Who's my daddy? She had asked years before. Abini had stared at her with empty eyes and had said, I don't know, the rain, maybe the rain. That was the end of that discussion. They slept under a smashed kiosk along mile 12. If it rained, they got wet. If it was warm, they cooked. Their mattress was a flattened carton. Their blanket was silence. Skalola did not even know what it meant to dream anymore. Survival was all she knew. Every day started the same. Abini waking up, screaming, scratching at the air. Skalola grabbed her, hugged her, whispered, It's me, mommy, it's me. She'd then clean her off, sometimes with nothing but a rag and some gutter pipe water, and take her back to the same corner of the street where she begged. Her mother begged. Skalola observed that was their life. Sometimes people spilled coins. Mostly they spilled insults. Mommy, don't speak today. Okay, Skalola whispered that morning, pulling her mother's wrapper more firmly around her. Just sit, just shut up. But Abini jumped up and cursed at a car that was passing by. Give me my wings. I left them in your boot. The driver honked and swerved. Skalola blushed. She turned and encountered the gaze of a schoolgirl on the opposite side of the street, well-dressed, with a lunchbox under her arm. The girl gazed at her, then hastily averted her eyes, whispering to her companion and giggling. Skalola peered at her own legs, dusty, toenails chipped, hands parched, stomach growling, but she suppressed it. Hunger was a perpetual friend. Yet under it all, she dreamed. She longed to sit in a schoolroom, putting up her hand to respond. She longed to wear a uniform, scribbling in schoolbooks, reading books which were not dripping with rain or frayed at the corners. She longed for someone, anyone, to call her by name without contempt, but who would educate the daughter of a madwoman, who would care about a girl whose mother scared birds away because she believed they were demons? Nobody. And yet, Skalola still hoped. She saw children pass by with their backpacks and braided hair, and she murmured to herself, one day she would sit in a true classroom. One day she would flee this accursed corner of Lagos. One day her mother would smile again and call her name. But as she dipped into her bag to count the N10 note and 3 coins they had collected so far, she heard a hawker yell behind her, Thunderfire poverty. Skalola didn't turn around. She just clung to her mother and murmured, Amen. It began with a plate of jollof rice. Skalola had been huddled beside her mother by Oshodi that afternoon, her belly knotting itself up with hunger. Her mother was having one of her silent days, just rocking back and forth like a broken record, eyes unfocused, lips twitching. That's when Skalola spotted a woman staring at her from across the street. The woman stood behind a steaming food stall, plastic chairs, a wooden bench, 2 coolers, and the unmistakable smell of cooked rice and pepper soup. She was fair-skinned, full-bodied, and wore a plain Angora gown. There was something in her eyes, something that wasn't pity. Zolo looked away, mortified. She detested being stared at like an animal in a zoo. Minutes later, the woman walked across the street and stood before her. "What's your name?" she inquired softly. Skolola gazed at her naked toes, then murmured, "Shola, where's your mother?" Skola nodded toward the woman sitting next to her, who was now warbling to an empty bottle. The woman's expression softened. "She's ill, isn't she?" Skolola nodded. "What did you have today?" Skola did not respond. Rather than inquire further, the woman extended a wrapped takeaway plate. "Eat here." Skolola hesitated. Strangers did not offer food for nothing, and she was not inclined to offer anything in return. "Don't worry," the woman smiled. "I'm different from the others." It was the first time Skolola had seen Auntie Linda. The food was warm, the rice sweet, the meat tender. Skolola had not eaten meat since January. That night, Auntie Linda returned with soap and bottled water. "Tell me your story, child," she inquired as she assisted Shola in washing her hands. Skolola informed her. Everything, the craziness, the market, the school she used to sneak peeks into, the hunger, the hope, the dreams. She didn't sob, but her voice quavered. Auntie Linda wiped her hands on a handkerchief. "Tomorrow, come visit my shop. You'll assist me in cleaning, I'll provide for you in return. Deal?" Skola nodded so vigorously her head nearly hit the floor. Skola appeared the next day. She swept. She cleaned plates. She waited on customers. And she observed Auntie Linda closely, how she smiled at customers, how she operated her small business with quiet strength. Skola sat under the counter one afternoon writing numbers in the sand with a stick. Auntie Linda stooped down and said, "Where did you learn that?" Skola replied, "By observing the school by the express road. I memorized what the teacher recited." The woman blinked. "You mean you never attended school?" "I once did it for 3 weeks. Auntie Bessie paid, but she left." Auntie Linda remained quiet for a long time. The following week, she came back with a present, a fresh exercise book and a set of pencils. The following week, she took it further. 3 weeks later, Skolola was in a dirty public school classroom, shaking with her hands, pounding with her heart. She had on a second-hand uniform that Auntie Linda had purchased in a thrift bazaar. It was too large, but it was a crown to her. "Behave yourself, oh," Auntie Linda instructed her in the morning when she let her in. "Make me proud." "I don't waste money." Skola bobbed her head rapidly, clutching the nylon sack with her new book as if it were gold. The first day was peculiar. Kids gawked, some laughed. But when the teacher posed a question and Skolola responded before anyone else dared put up their hand, it all shifted. She was clever, too clever. She was answering questions older kids couldn't. She learned poems by heart from hearing them just once. She wrote quickly and accurately. Even the headmistress inquired one day, "Who trained this child?" Skolola always replied, "Auntie Linda." After class each night, she came back to the food stand to work. She cleaned, served, and occasionally was allowed to taste cold soup or fruit leftovers. But her actual prize was seeing Auntie Linda nod in agreement and say, "Good girl." For the first time, Skolola felt noticed, felt loved. Then, just as life seemed to be turning around, everything fell apart. Auntie Linda returned home one evening with a white envelope in her hand. "My sister based in the UK has finally processed my papers," she said, with tears in her eyes. Finally, after 7 years of waiting, Skola smiled. "So we're going?" The woman ceased smiling. "No, Skolola, just me." The room fell silent. Skolola blinked. "What about me?" Auntie Linda took a deep breath. "I paid for your school till this term. Perhaps God would send another person to assist you. I've done everything I can do." Skolola looked at her plate. She wished to yell, "Take me along, please," but she nodded only. 3 weeks later, Auntie Linda was deceased. Nobody said goodbye to her. Nobody else appeared to pay fees for the coming term. The headmistress called her one afternoon and told her, "We are sorry, Skolola. Without fees, you can't stay." She stood by the school gate for hours, her bag clutched tightly, waiting for Auntie Linda to return. She never returned. She waited by the school gate until the sun started dipping behind the buildings. Her uniform was dusty, her book bag wrapped tight around her side. Flies buzzed around her ear, but she didn't budge. Her eyes were stuck on the turn of the street where Auntie Linda had promised she would return, but that turn remained vacant. Skolola's belly growled. Her throat ached from the dust she'd swallowed throughout the day. Children passed in groups, laughing, playing tag, their parents waiting with hugs and snacks. No one picked her up. Finally, the gateman approached. "Little girl, time to leave." Skolola nodded slowly. She got up, shook herself off, and walked away. But she did not go home. Where was home, anyway? The broken kiosk where she slept with her mother was now occupied. A drunken man who brandished a belt at her the last time she tried going back. The corner outside the bakery where a beanie would beg was now filled by two boys who sniffed glue and fought anyone who looked at them cross. The streets had altered in her time away. The only thing that remained the same was her mother. Still angry, still barefoot, still conversing with ghosts and demons in the air. When Skolola discovered her at the gutter that evening, her mother was attempting to feed a dead bird with gar moistened in brown rainwater. "Mommy, it's me. Let's go somewhere safe," Skola said in a hushed tone, but her mother hissed and slapped her instead. Skolola swiped away the blood at her lip with the back of her hand and sat down next to her anyway. They slept huddled on the sidewalk, surrounded by cigarette ash and mosquito stings. Her mother snickered in her sleep. Skolola did not sleep. She dressed in her school uniform the next day. She wrapped her books in a black nylon and returned to the school. She waited outside the gate. Perhaps they would reconsider. Perhaps somebody will assist her. But when the headmistress died, she hesitated and frowned. "Why are you here again? No fees, no school, I told you. I'll pay." "I will." Skolola stuttered. "How? You and that mad woman don't even take food properly." The words sting like a slap. Teachers walked by, parents glared. Skola's cheeks blazed with shame. "Please, Ma, can I just sit at the back? I won't disturb." The woman shook her head. "Don't make a fool of yourself. This isn't charity. Go away." And that was all. The gates shut. Skolola sat against the wall and wept over her book until the letters ran together. Weeks became weeks. She attempted to go back to the food stand, but it had changed hands now. Auntie Linda was lost for good. The new woman drove her away. She sold her last good pair of sandals for N300 and spent it on bread and garage. Her uniform turned grey. Her exercise book was soaked in the rain at night, and the ink seeped out until all her notes were illegible. People no longer viewed her as that intelligent girl. She was now just another street girl, just another roadside shadow. One night, while searching for a place to sleep that was dry, she caught sight of a boy no more than 9 light a match and smoked something covered in paper undefined. He glanced at her and said, "Come join us. If it make you forget, say you hungry." She shook her head and moved on. Undefined. Her hunger was vociferous, but her terror of ending up like those boys was loud. Undefined. She still had one treasure left, her mind. And somehow she still believed that one day, just one day, it would all change. Undefined. She couldn't help herself. Undefined. No matter how many times they chased her away, insulted her, or mocked her, Skola kept going back. Each morning, as other kids tied shoelaces and pushed in starched white shirts, Skola would make her way to the rear fence of City Crest Academy, a private school that resembled a palace from her end of the world. The walls were gold-painted. The windows were crowned with gleaming glass. The students had blazers and shiny shoes, their names embroidered neatly onto their uniforms. She didn't fit there, not even close, but she didn't let that stop her. There was one window that was slightly open behind a classroom with a tiny ledge she could stand on. It was by an old mango tree where nobody ever peeked. That was her hidden spot. She could see everything from there. The chalkboard, the math work, the teacher teaching vowels. Skolola would whisper the answers to herself quietly, holding a snapped pencil stub as if it was holy. Her notebook had long since been ruined by rain, so she wrote on pieces of paper. She rifled through garbage cans, old brochures, tissue packets, anything with a decent side. She remained each day until the bell sounded. Then she'd slip away before anyone saw her. But that one Monday she wasn't quick enough. The teacher spotted her, a tattered girl with shining eyes peering from behind the window. "Hey, who's that?" the woman shouted. Skolola stood stiff. A student turned around, pointed, and spoke in disgust. "It's that crazy girl again, the one who tails us." The class erupted in laughter. The teacher rushed to the back and flung open the door. "What do you want, Anne? Who brought you here?" Skolola stuttered. "I simply want to learn. Just listen outside, please. Are you crazy? Do you think this is a public place?" "No, Ma, but I won't disturb anyone, I promise." "Go and instruct your mother to pay school fees first," the teacher growled. "If you even know who your mother is." Skolola's mouth opened, but nothing emerged. The teacher had a stick he snatched from the desk and held up. Skolola spun and took off. Ran so quickly she hadn't noticed the tears burning her cheeks until she hit the next street. She did not quit. The next morning she discovered another school, Bright Scholars Academy, simpler but still patrolled. This time she didn't attempt the window. She crouched beside a smashed section of the fence and listened instead. When the children did their times tables, she whispered them too. When they repeated words in English, she echoed after them. Occasionally, she even silently corrected them. One day, a boy spotted her and hurled a stone, which, begone. "You're distracting us." Skolola didn't blink. The stone struck her shoulder, but she suppressed tears. Another child giggled and yelled, "She's mad like her mummy. Go and study in psychiatric hospital." Nevertheless, she returned the following day and the day following, but pain has a tendency to accumulate. One afternoon, a guard spotted her and pulled her by the arm. "Who are you, always creeping around like a thief?" "I'm not a thief, sir. I would like to learn." He did not hear her. He shoved her onto the ground and cautioned, "Next time I see you here, I'll beat you." As she made her way away, limping, Skolola gazed up at the building, the bright walls, the desks, the blackboard, all that she yearned for, yet all she couldn't reach. She sat beneath a tree and started writing multiplication tables in the dust with a stick. When they were blown away by the wind, she began again. That evening, as her mother raved beside her in sleep, Skolola gazed at the stars. "God," she whispered, "why do you make me so intelligent and then close the doors of school? Did you give me this brain just to suffer?" Skolola stuttered, stepping back. "I was just listening." Jessica nodded her head. "Why?" Skolola blinked in bewilderment. "Because I want to learn." Jessica approached her. "You don't attend school?" "No, my mother, she's ill. We stay on the streets." Jessica looked down. Her slick black boots did not make a sound on the soft grass. "People laugh at me too," she spoke quietly. "They say I'm stupid, that my father paid the school to continue advancing me." Skolola looked up startled. "You?" Jessica nodded. "I don't catch anything they teach in class. Everyone's always ahead of me, so I sit out here at lunch by myself." A long period of time elapsed. Then Jessica smiled. "Do you want to sit?" Skolola hesitated. Jessica sat first and patted the ground beside her. Skolola slowly sat on the grass. Jessica opened her bag and took out a textbook. "Can you teach me this? I don't catch it." Zolo stared at the page, fractions. She examined it for a moment, then took the book gently. "Okay, so look, when you see 1, 2 and 1, 4, they have different denominators." Jessica listened wide-eyed as Skolola explained it. In a few minutes, Jessica was working problems she had struggled with all term. She gasped. I get it. I finally get it." Skolola smiled shyly. "You're not stupid." Jessica grinned. "And you're not just smart, you're incredible." They sat under the mango tree for over an hour. When the bell rang, Jessica stood. "Will you come tomorrow?" she asked. Skolola hesitated. "They'll chase me. I don't belong here." Jessica narrowed her eyes. "Wait here." She took off. She came back a few minutes later, followed closely by the school's security man. "This is my friend," Jessica declared. "Her name is Skolola. She'll be here tomorrow at lunch. Let her in." The man was puzzled. "But she isn't. She's my friend," Jessica insisted. "And my daddy owns this school. You got a problem with that?" The man blinked and remained silent. Jessica spun around to Skolola. "Tomorrow at the same time, okay?" Skolola slowly nodded, still in awe of what had transpired. Exhaling as she walked away from the school, she felt something different. Not shame, not fear, hope. That evening, while her mother sang to a broken bottle and danced shoeless in the dark, Skolola prayed by the gutter. "God, I met a person today. She looked at me. She didn't call me mad or dirty. She heard me. Please, let me see her again. Let it not be a dream." Then she went to bed smiling. The first in a very, very long time. They sat under the mango tree every single day. Same time, same place. Chief Agu, one of Lagos' most respected and feared billionaires. She had no idea how. How do you explain to a man who ran oil companies and joined TV panels that your best friend was a barefoot street girl? And so, under the mango tree, the two girls constructed a world of their own. A world where names did not matter, where background did not exist, where a billionaire's daughter and a mad woman's child could dream the same dream together. It was Skolola one day who failed to appear. Jessica waited by the tree. She glanced at her watch. 30 minutes an hour, no Skolola. Panic set in at the back of her chest. Had she been injured? Had she fallen ill, or indeed had someone pursued her again? She was poised to sprint to the gate when a gentle voice called out. "Jessica," she turned. There was Skolola catching her breath barefoot with dust on her legs, but grinning. "Sorry I'm late," she said. "My mom, she had a fit. Ran into the street. Had to grab her before she got hit." Jessica flung herself forward and enveloped her in a tight hug. "I didn't think you were coming." Skolola laughed. "Even if I have to crawl, I'll come." Jessica leaned away and stared at her in the opposite direction. "One day I'll tell my dad, I swear." Skolola swallowed hard. "What if he refuses?" Jessica grinned with passion in her eyes. "Then I'll scream until he agrees." That evening, in the faint glow of a street lamp out of order, Scola slept next to her mother, who hummed and cradled a stone in her arms like it were a child. Scola gazed up at the stars. God, she prayed, I never had a friend before. Don't let me lose this one. She pulled out the notepad Jessica had given to her from her pocket. On the first page, there was a drawing. A stick girl and a stick girl holding hands under a mango tree, one wearing uniform, one in rags, both with big smiles. Scola traced the drawing with her finger and smiled too, then closed her eyes. And for the first time in her life, she didn't sleep with fear. The morning began as usual. Jessica passed her classes dazed, waiting for the lunch bell. Her fingers drummed her desk restlessly. Her heart was racing faster than normal. The teachers complimented her better performance. She had replied 2 questions correctly in literature. Even the principal spoke about it during assembly, but Jessica didn't mind because none of them understood why the change had occurred. It wasn't tutoring from a pricey private coach. It was Scola, the girl who preferred walking barefoot, with a mind that was stronger than anyone she'd ever met and with a heart larger than anyone she'd ever met. Jessica couldn't wait to get to her. At precisely 12:35 p.m., she was already sitting under the mango tree with 2 spoons, lunchbox and Scola's favorite biscuit crammed into the corner. Then she heard it, the rumble of black SUVs driving into the compound. Students glanced in that direction. Teachers stopped mid-sentence. Even the security men touched their uniforms and saluted. Jessica's stomach fell. Daddy, why is he here? Chief Orgu didn't come to the school without warning. He was too busy to surprise. His name alone commanded respect. His presence filled every room before he even opened his mouth. Jessica sprang up, shaking crumbs off her skirt. She had no idea what to do. Then, before she could move, Scola was there, gasping, smiling, barefoot as ever. I'm here, she told him. Sorry, I had to get water before going out. But Jessica did not smile. Her gaze was fixed on the person emerging from the SUV. Tall, dark-skinned, impeccably dressed in a black CF tan and leather sandals. Chief Orgu, her father. Scola tracked her gaze, her body tensed. Is that Jessica nodded slowly? My dad. Scola's smile faded. Panic rushed over her chest in a wave. I have to leave, she breathed, but already too late. Jessica, the booming voice boomed across the lawn. She spun around. Chief Orgu strode out, with 2 assistants trailing behind him. His eyes were sharp, calculating, bewildered. What are you doing here? He demanded. Jessica swallowed. I was having lunch. With whom? Chief Orgu glanced over at his daughter's shoulder and spotted Scola, a girl in a tattered dress, legs with dust on them, clutching a frayed nylon bag and a half-eaten biscuit. His eyebrow creased in puzzlement. Who is this? Scola lowered her head, mouth agape, but words were stuck in her throat. Her whole body shook. Jessica moved in front of her. This is Scola. She's my friend. You're what? She assists me. She instructs me. Chief O blinked. Excuse me. Jessica inhaled a breath and straightened. The reason I've been doing well in school is due to her. She instructs me at lunch each day, and I know her better than any instructor here. A long, heavy pause followed. Chief O's gaze did not waver from the shivering girl behind his daughter. Then he spoke softly. What are your parents, child? Scola hardly raised her head. Her voice was parched and cracked. I don't know my father, sir. My mother, she is ill. She begs by the roadside at Oshodi. She is called mad. We don't have a home. One of the assistants shifted uncomfortably. Chief O's face still didn't show anything. You're not in school. Jessica shook her head. Only when I wear nice clothes or when parties are hosted by my dad. Not when I get correct answers right, not when I stumble on. That day Scola grasped her hand and uttered words she never expected to say. You deserve better. Jessica remained silent. She only squeezed Scola's hand harder. One sunny afternoon, sitting on the porch eating Jessica's spaghetti and plantain, Jessica turned and asked, Do you have a best friend? You, Scola responded instinctively. Jessica smiled. Me too. Then her face changed. Shola, what if my daddy finds out? What if he tells us we can't be friends? Scola hesitated. Her spoon inched over the lunchbox. Then you'll forget me, that's how it works. No, snapped Jessica. I won't. He'll get mad, Scola whispered. Rich don't want their daughters sitting with girls like me. My mother begs on the street, Jessica. Some people say she's cursed. They think I'm cursed too. Jessica was silent. Then she reached forward and whispered, You're not cursed, you're magic. Scola blinked in shock. Magic. Jessica nodded assuringly. Yes. Who else can teach as well as all of my teachers? Who else can make me laugh when I feel her like crying? Who else can make a place like this feel like home? Scola's chest constricted. Her eyes watered, but she blinked quickly to keep the tears back. Magic, Jessica whispered once more. That's what you are. They began to share more than textbooks and food. Jessica brought Scolola a hairbrush, a little blue notebook, even slippers once, although she never wore them, fearing someone would steal them in the street. Scolola, on her part, shared stories, true ones and fictional ones, stories of stars falling in love with street children, of girls who discovered schools and aspirations, and mothers who were healed by rain. Jessica listened as if each word was significant, and it did. For the first time in her life, Jessica no longer felt alone. And for the first time, Scola no longer felt invisible. But they never told. Jessica never told her teachers, never told her classmates, certainly never told her father. Read it like you're having a conversation with your best friend. Jessica attempted, struggled, then attempted again, and when she figured it out, Scola applauded with excitement like she'd just received a trophy. Jessica's eyes would sparkle. Nobody ever applauds for me, she once revealed. Scolola blinked. But you are wealthy. Do people not celebrate you? Scolola arrived barefoot in her tattered brown dress with a plastic bag containing shredded paper and a blunt pencil. Jessica arrived in her iron school uniform with a lunchbox prepared by the cook. Two girls from two different worlds, but under that tree nothing else counted. Their friendship smoldered like a fire in winter. Jessica giggled more these days. She listened in class, not because the instructors finally clicked, but because Scola did. Don't read it like a machine, Scola would urge. I know someone, she needs proper treatment. Please, said Scola. I don't need money, I just want her to be all right. He rose, turned toward his aide and issued instructions. Call Dr. Asher in. Psych unit, full care, no waiting. Then he swung around to Scola. And you? Scola's heart was pounding. From now on you are no longer a homeless girl. She caught her breath. He knelt at her feet, put a firm hand on her shoulder and stared into her eyes. You have a father now. Scola didn't think it was real at first, even as the car drove away from the grimy street that had been her universe, even as she sat through the tinted glass while her mother was carefully put into an ambulance rushing towards the finest psychiatric hospital in Lagos, even when Jessica squeezed her hand and whispered, "You're safe now." She still thought it was a dream. She didn't cry, she didn't smile. She just gazed, wondering how a day that had begun with fear had ended with a billionaire on the phone saying she was talking to her daughter. Chief O worked swiftly. Scolola had had her first decent bath in years by nightfall. Jessica had provided her with new pajamas. Her hair had been brushed carefully and packed by one of the housemates who could not keep the shock off her face when Chief O introduced her. This is Scolola. She'll be with us from now on. Give her the same respect you give my daughter. The whole house went numb. The street girl dwelling here, but Chief O's tone brooked no argument. The next morning, Scola stood in front of Jessica's mirror, dressed in a borrowed Queen's Crest school uniform. It was new, fresh, crisply ironed. She hardly recognized herself. Jessica applauded joyfully. You look just like me. Scolola smiled faintly. I feel like I'm dreaming. You're not. My daddy told me it's real. He told me you're supposed to be here, but I'm the daughter of a crazy lady. Scolola spoke, her voice shaking. Jessica shook her head. No, you're the daughter of my daddy now. Scolola slowly swiveled to the window, gazing out into the dawn light. I don't know how to repay him. Jessica smiled, then thank him the only way that he really cares about. How? Shine, show the world what you can do. That day, the two girls entered Queen's Crest side by side. Twin uniforms, twin bags, twin smiles. Gasps trailed them behind. Whispers of children, blinks of confusion from the teachers. Wasn't she the same street girl who used to linger behind fences and windows? Yes, she was, but today she walked with the daughter of the school's founder. No more sneaking around, no more looking through windows. She had entered the front gate as a student. In class, Scola spoke up. Every time there was a question, every time there was a lesson, she wasn't only good, she was exceptional. At the end of the day, the teachers summoned the principal to a meeting. Where did she come from? One of them demanded. She's not only intelligent, she's exceptional. The principal grinned. From the street, as it turns out, but now she's family. At the same time, Chief Argu made good on his promise. Scolola's mother was put under expert psychiatric care at a private clinic. Dr. Asher assured him that Abini's condition, although critical, was curable. You'll get her stable, said the doctor. It will take months, but with love, medicine, and structure, there is hope. Scolola saw her mother once a week. The first few times, she didn't know she was there. She'd scream at the walls or sob over snakes no one else could see. But on the fifth time, she stopped. She looked up at Scolola and spoke in a whisper. You look like the ski, Scola wept. Weeks passed. Scola adjusted to her new life slowly. She still woke up some nights gasping, thinking she was back on the sidewalk. She still flinched when someone raised a hand too quickly. But gradually her smile became freer, her laughter more frequent. She spoke during class, she made new friends, but no one ever took Jessica's place. They were sisters now, not by blood but by bond. They exchanged everything: secrets, stories, lunch and dreams. Jessica's grades improved greatly, her self-esteem flourished. Her teachers were amazed, and they all knew the reason why. Because of the girl who sat under the mango tree. One Friday afternoon, Chief O summoned Scola to his study. She was standing nervously at the door. He beckoned for her to sit. "I've been observing you," he said. "You've changed the life of my daughter and mine." Scola dropped her eyes. "I didn't mean to. I just wanted to learn," he smiled. "And now you will. To me, you're my child, and I'll treat you the way I do Jessica." He pulled out a drawer and gave her a brand new tablet loaded with all of her school work. Scola looked at it as if it were gold. Then she whispered, "Thank you, sir, thank you for noticing me," when no one else had. He got up and put a soft hand on her head. "You were never invisible, Scola. You just needed someone to look close enough." That evening, Scola sat in the garden beneath the mango tree, now well-groomed, amidst clean tiles and benches. She gazed at the stars. "My name is Scola," she breathed. "Daughter of no one, friend of Jessica, student of Queen's Crest." And now, she smiled. "I have a father." She closed her eyes and breathed a final prayer. "God, I used to pray for you to heal my mother, to send me to school, to grant me a single friend. You gave me all three. I don't deserve it, but thank you." She put a hand over her heart. "I swear I won't squander this opportunity." And so the girl the world had called daughter of the mad woman became something greater, a symbol of hope, a walking miracle, a living answer to her own desperate prayer. And for Chief Argu, for Jessica, and for everyone who ever trusted that love and learning can redeem a life, Scola was proof. The future had at last opened its doors, and she walked through them, head held high. No child is born worthless. Every life contains potential. With education, opportunity, and kindness, even the most forgotten heart can revive. Scola's tale reminds us that compassion can shatter cycles of rejection and poverty. True greatness is not where you are from, but how you act when someone finally looks at you. Believe, encourage, and never judge a child based on circumstance. We hope you found this inspiring tale worthwhile. We'd love to know your comments. Please let us know what you learned in the comments section below. Your feedback is everything to us. And you know what? Another motivating and informative post is on its way to you within a few days. Therefore, be sure to subscribe and activate the notification bell so that you will be the first to see when we post. If this tale moved your heart, don't forget to like and share it with your loved ones and friends. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you.